I guess their main message for us too is that sleep is just not about feeling refreshed, which
Yeah.
is just huge, but how it affects our health from the inside.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to become more and more aware of that.
Yeah.
And that's why I value it 10 times more than I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
Not because when I was younger, I wanted to look better. I wanted to feel refreshed. But now I'm so conscious of everything I eat or do for my health, and sleep I can control.
Yeah.
And that's a huge factor.
Yeah.
In like heart disease, like we mentioned,
Yeah.
diabetes,
Yeah.
blood pressure.
But I also like when you asked earlier, like I love going to sleep at night.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I know, when I look at the clock and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to bed in about an hour or so.
Yeah.
And there's just something because of the rituals that I've created. I just love that time.
And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
They have a really difficult time.
Yeah. And it's hard if you're in a relationship too. Like for some people, it's like you have different sleeping schedules,
Yeah.
right? So if you
yeah.
have, like for me, I go to bed before my husband. So he always comes in like an hour. He's quite quiet. He's very respectful.
Yeah.
And then same when I get up in the morning, I'm really quiet when I try to be quiet when I leave.
So today we're going to talk about something that I think about every day. I'm sure every one of you guys think about it all the time. And it's a topic that interferes with pretty much everything, our health, how our day goes, and so much more. And it's sleep. Sleep is something that affects our health. And there's so much research out there about it. Like, I don't know about you, Helen, but I can, everything pops up on my phone and I'm reading articles, I'm reading books about sleep. And you can be pulled in different directions. But there are some basic things about sleep that I think that everyone will be able to take home and really put to use. And we're not medical professionals. I used to be a nurse, but everything that we were going to present to you today is based on research that we read. And it's pretty much to leave you with an overall understanding of how sleep affects our health and things that we can do to improve our sleep. It's a big part of my life.
Yeah. And I think you're right. Like, I think it is important that people we're not doctors and this is just sort of the research we've done. And then we're going to give like sort of health benefits of things you can do. But if you are struggling with sleep or anything like that, like go and see a doctor or a naturopath or something,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
And sleep has been a topic that I hear more and more about.
Absolutely.
Even with the younger generation, I don't remember it being this prevalent.
Yeah.
When I was younger. And I think it's because maybe there's so much more technology out there that tracks our sleep. And we're becoming more aware of the impact of lack of sleep does to us.
Yeah. I think Arianna Huffington's book really changed.
Really?
Yeah. Because she was, it was years ago that it came out, but it was just about the importance of sleep and how big companies started putting like rooms where people could go take naps on their lunch and just realizing the importance of it. Because think of things like, it's like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Right? Like we never valued it. And now I think we've just realized how important it is. And we're going to get into all of that.
Yeah. But I don't know about you, but my evenings are focused around like what time I'm going to bed based on what time I need to wake up. And it's definitely a factor in my day-to-day routine. I would say in the last, say 3 years, much more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for this conversation.
It's great.
Yeah. Before we get to it, let's have a quick word from our sponsor.
Yeah.
I am so excited to share our brand new sponsor with you. And this one is extra special because it's close to our hearts. It's none other than MT Meikle's incredible business, La Closet. MT has helped me with my own style so many times. And what I love about La Closet is that they work within your budget, they're Canadian owned, and they do their best to support Canadian designers and businesses. Their team of personal stylists has helped thousands of women and men feel more confident and put together. Whether you're starting fresh or just want to refine your own current look, they work with you to build your wardrobe that's uniquely you, aligned with your lifestyle, your personality, and your goals. They offer everything from one-on-one style consultant. They can help you elevate your professional image, or you can book online styling. La Closet helps you create a powerful connection between who you are and what you wear. And here's the best part. You can book a free 15-minute consultation right now by heading to La Closet and use the code HTMT. Their contact information is in the show notes, so check them out and start showing up as your most aligned and stylish self with a little help from La Closet. Now, let's get back to the show.
So I think we're going to start off with the science of sleep and why it's essential. And based on all our readings and research that has been presented to us, we're going to talk about 5 things. And the first one is brain function and cognitive health. So sleep plays a crucial role in memory consolidation, learning, and cognitive function. Studies show that sleep deprivation impairs our attention, our problem-solving skills, and decision-making. And I know that's for me for sure. The lack of sleep has even been linked to an increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. And I've seen this a lot as well. And this is surprising.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the research and the science behind it, you understand why.
Yeah. Do you want to explain why?
I will explain why. So when it comes to, and we're going to hear the word cortisol a lot throughout this discussion, when it comes to degenerative health and our Alzheimer's, is that when we have increased cortisol levels, which we have when we don't sleep a lot, this in turn leads to increase in internal inflammation. And when you have internal inflammation, it attacks different cells in your body, like brain cells, heart cells, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, when your brain is constantly tasked because of inflammation and the lack of sleep, it can lead to the Alzheimer's.
Right.
It's a lot more research behind it and medical statistics, but that's an overall general summary of it.
Okay. I love that.
Definitely. And I think with attention and problem solving, I think you are the perfect example of that today, because this morning Helen says to me, well, it's funny, we're talking about sleep and I only slept 4 hours last night.
Yeah. No, it was a hard night last night sleeping. And no, it definitely affects all of it. I mean, it affects, like, when we go through all these categories, it's funny how it affects every category when you don't have a good night's sleep.
Exactly.
And I think when you have a one-off, it's different, right? Where there are people that have bad night sleeps a lot, or that they don't honor their sleep, or, they have insomnia, and, night after night, that gets really hard.
And I hear a lot of people say, I don't need a lot of sleep to function.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know I think there's, in my readings, there was like a 1% in population that can function day to day on less than 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
But I think the overall population needs more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I found that people just need to become more aware of how, or be more in tune of their health and their day-to-days to understand how sleep affects it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, think about what we do with our kids.
Yeah.
Right? Right from, like, teaching them how to sleep.
Yeah.
When they're babies. So it's definitely, and then all of a sudden, I don't think the teenage years, it's all about staying up late. Right?
Well, and I think as teenagers, your hormones actually are higher at peak, are peaked higher at night. So it keeps you more awake.
Right.
But as we age, we have less hormones, so we're able to go to bed earlier.
Yeah.
So there's actually, again, there's a science to that. So adolescents naturally tend to stay up later.
Yeah.
And sleep in more. It's just a cycle of the hormones.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So our kids just aren't being lazy.
No, exactly. Yeah. They don't wake them up. But,
the emotional and mental well-being.
Yeah.
So when we don't get enough sleep, we can be more irritable, more emotional, and that's because sleep regulates our mood and helps our brain process emotions. Chronic sleep deprivation is associated with a high risk of anxiety and depression, which makes perfect sense to me.
100%, yeah.
Right? And I know, like, I shared this with you earlier, that there are some celebrities that have been very open about their anxiety or depression or mental health. And one of the things that they say is that, a lot of them are on medication, and they'll say that, eating well, going to the gym, and sleep. And they say those are the 3 things you can do for yourself. And sleep is a huge part of it.
It is. And I think people tend to put that on the back burner
Yeah.
and just look at the physical
Yeah.
aspect of health and what you're eating, and thinking that, okay, sleep is not as a priority as those two.
Yeah.
But I think they're all on the same
No, totally.
um
And do you
same level.
notice too, if you're like, I know for me, I mean, I get teary-eyed to begin with, but
Oh.
I am definitely more
More
emotional.
100%.
Yeah.
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 And I find that, I think we'll talk about it as well with a diet, but other factors affect, feeling a bit more sad. But definitely, because when again, it all stems back to lack of sleep affects your hormones. And as we age especially, it affects our happiness and anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Definitely does. Number 3, physical health and longevity. So sleep is when the body repairs itself. It regulates hormones, supports immune function, and even helps with weight management. Inadequate sleep has been linked to an increased risk of heart disease, diabetes, and high blood pressure. This, again, is definitely, there's a scientific evidence out there that lack of sleep is related to increase in diabetes. So what happens when we don't sleep well, back to that word, cortisol levels, our cortisol levels are elevated. And when our cortisol levels are elevated, it increases our blood sugar. And a constant state of high blood sugar in our system will lead to diabetes.
Right.
And again, so it's like a perpetual cycle. When you have a high blood sugar all the time because of your lack of sleep, it's that high blood sugar is what gives you those wakeful periods at night.
Right.
So it's like everything is kind of affecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I found interesting is I asked you, because I know you used to be a nurse,
Yeah.
just about the heart disease.
Yeah.
And you were saying because it's the inflammation.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
when our cortisol levels are constantly elevated, it creates a constant inflammation in our system. And lack of sleep is not the only reason why cortisol levels stay elevated. It could be stress. Again, so we want to keep stress down to keep our cortisol levels down so we can sleep better.
Yeah.
Too much activity, increase your cortisol levels, which affect your sleep. So there's like everything.
Yeah.
But when you have internal inflammation, it attacks certain cells, and to release this an enzyme, I believe. I'm not sure exactly what it was. So I have to go back to my notes, which affects the hearts. So it's one thing everyone thinks, oh, I need sleep so I don't have puffy eyes. It's actually what's regulating our insides.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially as we get older, it's even more important.
Yeah.
So the hormone balance and metabolism. So sleep influences the production of hormones like cortisol, which you were talking about, which is the stress hormone, and the insulin, which regulates our blood sugar.
Yeah.
Poor sleep can lead to increased cravings, weight gain, and metabolic dysfunction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you talked about the increased cravings and weight gain.
Yeah.
That's because we're with the hormone balance and metabolism is because our blood sugar is constantly elevated.
Right.
So when we have these peaks in blood sugar, you actually crave more.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So is that what happens when people are hungover? Because I always notice when people are hungover, they want McDonald's or they want to eat junk.
Yeah,
is that because you've had all that sugar,
because
the
there's
alcohol?
still sugar circulating in your system.
Right.
Definitely.
Oh, interesting.
And I find that even like a heavy meal at night or sugar keeps your heart rate elevated a few beats more per minute.
Yeah.
And that when your heart rate's elevated overnight or while you're sleeping, you don't get into the deep REM or deep sleep as much. You're more wakeful.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because I hear a lot about cortisol, especially with menopause. Like women are always talking about their cortisol levels, and I don't hear it as much with men.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't seem to be a focal point as much with men as it does with women.
Right. So in my readings that you and I talk about, we found that cortisol, how it affects men's sleep is that men don't sleep as long.
Okay.
Whereas increased cortisol for women tends to lead to more wakeful moments.
Okay. That makes sense.
Right? So cortisol levels are definitely a factor for men, but their sleep is just not as long. We might stay in bed longer, but we have more peaks of wakefulness.
Right.
And the cortisol levels affects our estrogen and progesterone more than it does men's testosterone.
Okay.
So with the hormone imbalances and cortisol levels, we're already fluctuating in our hormones through menopause as we age.
Yeah.
So the increased cortisol will affect that even more.
Yeah.
Whereas men, it doesn't affect testosterone, I believe, as much as it does estrogen and progesterone.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I find that, but it's we're so sensitive to all that. So again, we don't know what to do. Do you eat less sugar and drink less, or do you sleep longer or go to bed longer? But it's all related.
So did your sleep change through menopause? Because so many women you hear, one of the big things as you get older is that their sleep is really affected, that they wake up a lot in the night and they find it hard going to sleep. Did you find that?
No, because I right away went and managed my hormones
Right.
as soon as I felt it.
Yeah.
But if you're not, it does, because all your hormones. So your hormones, high levels of hormones will affect your sleep for sure.
Yeah.
And then because it's affecting your sleep, you're going to have higher cortisol levels, and therefore you're going to have higher internal inflammation, and then possibly lead to higher blood sugar circulating at night.
Yeah.
So it's just there's tentacles everywhere.
Yeah.
So I look at sleep as a main part.
Yeah.
But there's so many branches that can affect
totally.
our
Totally.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So aging and skin health. Now, they don't call it beauty sleep for nothing. During deep sleep, the body produces growth hormones that aid in cell regeneration, helping to maintain healthy skin and reduce signs of aging.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So don't you find, so when we're younger, we have chubbier faces or more fat on our face. So lack of sleep, we don't really see us drawn as much. But as we get older, we tend to lose some of the plumpness in our skin.
Mm-hmm.
So when we don't sleep a lot, we tend to look more drawn, which is a lot more noticeable.
Oh, totally.
As we're older.
Yeah. Or even when you, like, even this morning when I got up, when I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh my gosh, like you can just see it, right?
Right? So it's definitely a factor. And again, when you're sleeping, your cells regenerate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that your cell regeneration is at a cellular level of our skin as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a factor.
So now we get into talking about ways that we can improve our sleep.
Love it.
Which I love.
Right. So there's so many things. First of all, I think I just have to talk a little bit about the Aura Ring, because this ring definitely improved my sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And it's not only that I've become obsessed with my score, but what I found is that it kind of monitors the best time of my body has the best deep or REM sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that the earlier I go to bed, the quality of sleep I have before midnight is a lot deeper than it is when I sleep in.
Right.
So if I go to bed at 1 a.m, my quality of deep and REM sleep is a lot less, even though I sleep until 8.
Right.
Because that's what I find. And it also tracks my heart rate. And you can put little tags, like last night I ate chocolate, and you can see why my heart rate was up. And when your heart rate's up, your deep sleep and REM sleep is affected.
Yeah.
So this has been a big factor for me.
Yeah.
And that's a plug for you, Aura Ring.
Well, and it's not, I mean, people have like the watches, there's so many things that people can use to track their sleep. And people who can't afford the Aura Ring or even watches, like there's even apps where you put the time that you go to sleep and then you wake up and it sort of monitors it for you. But I think it just helps to keep you on track, Yeah,
I know, like for myself, I'm one to respect sleep. So I was saying to you earlier, when I have anyone sleeping in the home, I am extremely quiet, or I try to be. Like I'll brush my teeth in a different washroom. There's no toilet flushing.
Yeah.
I tiptoe. I don't open the blinds because I know it's underneath the guest bedroom. Like I really
try to
respect people's sleep.
Yeah.
And I find that when people don't, I find it rude.
Yeah. Oh, then don't sleep at my place.
Yeah. Oh, right. Why? What happens
Oh,
there?
the other day I even said to my boys, I'm like, either we have spirits in the house because when I come downstairs, all the cupboards are open, or you guys do not shut the cupboard because they go down at night to get food.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they
yeah.
wear their AirPods so they don't hear that they're being noisy.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But they said, oh no, we leave the cupboards open so we don't bang them.
Okay,
So it
that's
doesn't
good
wake
then.
you. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but the noise prior to that is high.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I think you have people out there that I think I really respect sleep because
Mhm.
sleep is so important to me.
Yeah.
Whereas others who feel like
Was it always important to you?
it was. My mother was a huge advocate for good sleep.
Right.
And I knew the times when she
Yeah.
woke up grumpy because she didn't sleep well.
Yeah.
So it was always important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then to maintain, about
Okay.
that consistency would be things like trying to go to bed at the same time each night.
Exactly. That's
And then even waking up. And that's the funny thing because a lot of times on weekends, people are like, oh, I'm going to sleep in. But they do say the research shows like try to get up at the same time even on weekends. Or if you do sleep in, like just do it like for an hour or something,
Mhm.
but not so much that it ruins like your sleep cycle and your
Exactly.
cadence.
And again, that routine adds comfort.
Yeah.
And that adding comfort reduces anxiety.
Yeah.
So it's all connected.
Yeah.
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 It really
Do you
is.
stay up longer on weekends? Like, do you find because it's
Well, I
a
do because
weekend?
it's more social,
Right.
right? So I think Sunday evenings is definitely more of a home family day.
Yeah.
So I tend to try to go to bed the same time as I would Monday to Thursday.
Yeah.
But I always say starting Thursday, it's definitely more social things going on.
Yeah.
Where I tend to, but again, my going to bed is always related to what time I need to wake up.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get pressure from my friends, like, "Oh, come and do the 7:00 class on the weekend." It's like I can't because it's going to affect my enjoyment being out at night,
Yeah.
knowing that I have to, wake
Yeah.
up.
So you would choose your sleep over the fitness?
Only on weekends.
Only on weekends. Okay.
But I would say Sunday to Friday, sleep is a really important
Okay.
priority. Yeah.
Okay.
So creating a restful sleep environment. Okay, I get an A++ for this because I have a ritual every day. Creating a restful sleep environment means that your bedroom should be a sanctuary for your sleep, and you want to keep it cool, anywhere between 60 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 15 to 19 degrees Celsius, dark and quiet, and consider blackout curtains. So myself, I take darkness as a huge priority. The curtains are closed really, really well. I have pillows that hide the cracks. I close the bathroom and closet doors because of sunlights, so that nothing cracks in, and it's nice and dark.
Yeah. But even like it's more like that is definitely important. But also I even know where people like having like it sounds so silly, but that your bed is made, right? That it's inviting or there's research that shows like creating that healthy sleep environment is also like your bedroom is for sleep.
Yeah.
Right? Not having a TV in the room. And really keeping it so when you walk into your bedroom, it's like, oh, you get that message, your body and your brain gets that message like, oh, it's time to sleep.
Subliminal message. Yeah. It's true. Like I find that sometimes like I would hear like, oh, I just want to fall asleep on the couch, but I don't because the couch is where I just want to watch TV or read. When I go to bed, now I know I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
But I find that I don't want to fall asleep on the couch. I never do.
Yeah.
And again, I create a beautiful space.
Yeah.
Books and a candle. I make my bed religiously.
Yeah.
And I definitely let the sunlight in during the day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Limit screen times before bed. So we all know this. We all know the
we
phones,
hear it all the time.
the blue light.
Yeah.
Our TVs, all that sort of stuff is really crucial for sleeping. And you and I were talking, and I even find what we watch before we go to bed, is really important too. Because if you're watching something that's high anxiety or scary, that's going to take you time to wind down also. So I would say, obviously the research, but if you do watch TV, you're on your screens, like for that hour, create like that sleep hygiene again, where you can take like a bath, or a hot shower. That's what I do. I do showers at night. And that sort of starts me sort of my bedtime ritual,
Wow.
you
It's okay.
know?
But yeah, okay. So many times I'm on my phone and it's like, I'm just going to look at one reel, Instagram,
Yeah.
and just one. Okay. 3.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 more.
Yeah.
Okay. 5 more. And then an hour goes by. It's like, I just got sucked into this.
I know.
So I tend to fall into that as well.
Yeah. Or with me, it's at night doing Wordle. So when I go to bed, I do Wordle, I do connections, I do
Oh,
strands, and I do all the games at night.
okay.
And yes, I'm definitely on my phone before I go to
See,
bed.
that's a morning thing for me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But the blue light, though, there's actually a science behind it, is that it interferes with your melatonin production.
Mhm.
And we all need melatonin at certain levels to guide us into sleep. I think it increases at night.
Yeah.
And the blue light interferes with that.
Right.
And that's why they have people take a lot of melatonin at night, is because it's something that aids in our sleep.
Yeah. And there's interesting research on that, because if you take it every night, it's not a good thing, right?
Mhm.
Melatonin, like it's not to be taken every single night
Yeah.
for sleep. So again, and it is medicinal. So it's really important that those things, because I find sometimes people, when you can't sleep, they're like, oh, did you do this? You should try this. You should try that.
Yeah.
But if it's anything medicinal, again, like talk to a naturopath or talk to your doctor and make sure what you're taking is healthy for you.
Yeah, I took this one, it's called Sleepy Time, and it had melatonin in it, and it said take 2.
Mm-hmm.
I took 2, but I felt like I was drugged the next day. It was natural.
Interesting. Yeah.
And my body's just so sensitive to it.
Yeah. But that is a nice thing, like doing like warm teas at night.
Yeah.
Like you do a lot of that too. I
do
think
it,
like
yeah,
doing
every
herbal
night.
teas
Mhm.
is really lovely. And again,
Yeah.
it just sets the message, like whether it's a shower or a bath or that tea, it's like, oh, we're getting ready for bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's so true. Caffeine and alcohol intake. Caffeine stays in our system for up to 6 hours. So again, you have to look, do the math. If you like to go to bed at 10, your last cup of coffee should be at 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to avoid it. Whereas alcohol can make you sleepy, but it spikes your blood sugar hours after. So it disrupts your deep sleep, leading to a more fragmented rest.
Yeah.
And I noticed that a lot, and I tracked it with my Aura Ring, is that when I drink alcohol, my REM and my deep sleep is so much lower
Yeah.
than if I didn't have any of it. And my blood sugar is higher.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the blood sugar affects my heart rate and my cortisol level. So everything's just all over the place.
So are you one of those people that if you drink that you wake up? Because I know there's certain people, if they drink, they don't have a good night's
No,
sleep.
not me.
And then there are people, if they drink, they're out cold.
No,
like
I'm the opposite. Yeah, it does not. It gives me the poorest quality sleep.
So what is that? You just wake up a lot and you just
I
don't
wake.
go?
It's not. I can sense that I'm not in a deep sleep,
Yeah.
and I wake up feeling drowsy because I didn't get that deep sleep.
Yeah. I have to say that's one of the, I don't drink.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I love is you wake up clear.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
Yeah, 100%.
It's a great feeling.
It is, and that's what. And it all depends on my day. Like I'll think about, okay, maybe I'll have 1 glass. But if I signed up for an early class or I have a busy day, I tend not to, because I know that my sleep is going to be so affected.
Yeah.
And my sleep is way more important than that extra glass of wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Wind
Winding
down.
Yeah.
So this is what we kind of talked about.
Yeah, exactly.
So creating a sleep ritual, it signals your body that it's time to rest. So this could include reading, journaling, light stretching, a warm bath, meditation, breathing exercises. It can all help with your nervous system. So it's interesting because you talk, because we're big journalers, and I journal in the morning. It's part of my morning practice. And then when I go to bed, I journal. And you don't journal at night.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I read.
You read.
That's my time to read.
Yeah. But are
Yeah.
you careful what you read? Like, do
No,
you
novel.
find if you read something that's like
No.
suspenseful,
No.
no.
Any type of reading is the best thing for me to do in bed.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And do you do baths or anything, or you're good?
No. I tend to I love a sauna,
Yeah.
maybe a couple hours before bed, because
Yeah.
then it makes me a bit tired afterwards. But no, it's just a nice dinner,
Yeah.
some downtime with not on my phone a lot if I
Yeah.
can, and then a consistent time I go to bed.
Yeah. Well, because it is even going back to babies again, right? Like when
Yeah.
you have them, like you give them their bath time
Yeah.
and then you read to them. And it's like, it's those cues where it's your body's like, oh, it's time to go to bed.
Yeah, it's a trigger.
Yeah.
It's a trigger saying, okay, yeah, I need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And it is hard to go from like, to right to bed.
Do you find that you focus on your sleep or what time you're going to bed every evening, or do you kind of just put it behind you and then whatever happens, it happens?
Yeah, I usually go to bed around 9.
Yeah. So by
Every
7
night.
o'clock, are you thinking about it or just naturally
No,
evolves?
just naturally.
Yeah.
I just naturally go, and then but I don't go to I go to bed at 9. But then I do my journaling or something like that.
So what time do you actually stop?
I would fall to sleep between 9:30 and 10.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm an early riser too.
Yeah.
Like I know you are, but I'm like up around 5:30.
I'm usually like a 10 to be asleep by 10 is ideal, and up around 6.
Yeah.
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 So we're like a half an hour difference.
Yeah. But it is funny because my boys know that what you were just saying too, that your sleep is important to you.
Yeah.
So every now and then they'll come in if they need something, but they're pretty good at like.
Can you sleep when the house is like fully functioning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually sleep better. I don't sleep as well if nobody's in the house.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
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 Because I hear every noise and I'm like, what's that?
That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are others respecting of your sleep, or they just go on with their normal time? Yeah.
No.
That's See, I have a hard time when if someone's asleep and someone's walking to their bedroom and talking full
I
on.
know.
It's like, wait.
So were you raised, because I was raised where my dad, like he was an early riser and he would get up and he would be in the kitchen, he'd be unloading the dishwasher. And it was like, if I first of all, I wouldn't dare say you woke me up, right? Or you're being loud, but it's like, and I find that me with the boys, even after a certain time, I'm like, too bad. It's
Wow.
like, it's 10:30, you should be
Okay,
up.
yeah, 10:30 I get.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely get. But no, my mother always was a big advocate for sleep.
Yeah.
So we had to be quiet when our parents were asleep in the morning.
Yeah.
We didn't make a lot of noise coming in or in the morning. So I think it's something that I grew up with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really cherish it.
Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah.
So it's funny when I go to New York, my cousin Christine, she's the same. She's so noisy in the morning. And it's like, and I don't know if it's like a Tansy thing, but yeah.
Yeah, no.
funny.
And I just, when I see that, I find it's just rude. But I can't put on my values on sleep onto somebody else.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I have to be better at that.
Yeah. And you also, so something with the quality of sleep is a white noise machine. So you have a fan.
I have a fan, yeah.
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 Because I find where we live in the city, it's noisy. And you have like delivery trucks. And so that can wake me up. But you just have the fan. So
I just started
cool.
that. It started because my girlfriend always uses a fan. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then at the cottage, we put it on because it was really hot in the room.
Yeah.
And then I realized I didn't hear all the noise of everybody else.
Yeah.
And that it just kind of happened.
Yeah. And you know what I'm liking now as the weather is changing is waking up, like you hear the birds.
Yeah.
Or where we live, there's lots of geese. So you'll hear them honking and talking to each other in the morning.
But you're up at that time.
I'm up at that time, but I love it. I love that. It's like, oh, spring is here, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think what people, I guess their main message for us too is that sleep is just not about feeling refreshed, which is just huge, but how it affects our health from the inside.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to become more and more aware of that.
Yeah.
And that's why I value it 10 times more than I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
Not because when I was younger, I wanted to look better. I wanted to feel refreshed. But now I'm so conscious of everything I eat or do for my health, and sleep I can control.
Yeah.
And that's a huge factor.
Yeah.
In like heart disease, like we mentioned, diabetes, blood pressure.
But I also like when you asked earlier, like I love going to sleep at night.
Yeah.
Like I know, when I look at the clock and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to bed in about an hour or so. And there's just something because of the rituals that I've created. I just love that time.
And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
They have a really difficult time.
Yeah. And it's hard if you're in a relationship too. Like for some people, it's like you have different sleeping schedules, right? So if you have, like for me, I go to bed before my husband. So he always comes in like an hour. He's quite quiet. He's very respectful.
Yeah.
And then same when I get up in the morning, I'm really quiet when I try to be quiet when I leave.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And I think that when I used to be a nurse, that was one of the biggest reasons why I never wanted to work in a hospital is because I didn't want to do shift work.
Yeah.
I got into public health, which is Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
I just found that this disruption
Yeah.
is so difficult.
Yeah.
For myself anyway.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 6.
Natural light and move your body. So exposure to natural sunlight during the day helps regulate your circadian rhythm. Exercise plays a huge role. Regular physical activity promotes deeper sleep, but try to finish your workouts at least a few hours before bedtime.
Yeah.
Key. And I find that our bodies get tired and that you with the exercise, so your body naturally craves then more sleep. Mm-hmm. But again, when you work out later in the evenings, it keeps your heart rate up a lot longer. Mm-hmm. Therefore, increased heart rate affects
your sleep. Yeah. So out of all of these, like, do you do all these sleep habits? Is there one where you're like, oh, shoot, I could work more on that? Or you're pretty much?
I think I do them all.
Yeah.
I maintain a consistent sleep schedule. I create a restful sleep environment. I limit my screen time 80% of the time. Mm-hmm. I watch my caffeine and alcohol intake. I wind down with a routine, and I get natural light and I move my body. Yeah. How about you?
I think the only is the screen time. That's the only one. And the screen time for me, it's not TV, it's being on my phone before I go to bed.
Do those lights help, those glasses to help with
No, I heard that it's funny. There was a doctor that I just said it's nothing. Yeah. Right? Okay. But I think it's not only the light, it's the stimulation of your brain too, right? But again, because I go on my phone at night to do my little games, and every now and then I don't do it as much. I used to do it where I would go onto Instagram and look at reels, and I kill myself laughing at some of the things. Yeah. And then I always know in Europe, because we send stuff back and forth to each other.
My business partner, she would send me texts like at 2 or 3 in the morning because she doesn't sleep. She has a hard time falling asleep. Yeah. Or I'm sending her texts at 5 in the morning. Yeah. So we're backwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think with anyone, I mean, it could be overwhelming to think, oh my gosh, I have to do all these things to help my sleep. Yeah. Start with 2. Yeah. And then, in a month or 2, start with another one. Yeah. Start gradual. Yeah. And then you're going to, and see, maybe it is, maybe something by getting a device to track your sleep so you're aware of it.
Some people that causes more anxiety.
Good point.
Right? So it's like whatever. Yeah. But there's also like sleep coaches now. Like, like people really realize the importance. So I know that there's sleep coaches.
And apps like Chopra.
But one of my best friends had a real problem with insomnia. And she had to go to like a sleep clinic where they put the monitors on her and everything. Yeah. And it gets worse before it gets better, right? Mm-hmm. Because you have that where if you're not sleeping, you still have to get up at a specific time. Yeah. And even things to do, like I call them lying down thoughts. So if I wake up and my mind starts going, one of the things they say is like get up and move, like just walk around to change your headspace.
Oh, so I would never get out of bed. So that's something if I wake up in the middle of the night, I don't look at my phone. I don't want to know what time it is. Yeah. I'll just lay there.
Yeah. And another thing where I shared with you, I heard it on CBC,
this is a good tip.
Where if you wake up and you can't sleep, where you think of a word and it has to be 3 or 4 letters. So let's say the word is cat. So then you say, okay, cat, and then you have to think of 3 words that start with C. So it could be coffee, cranberry, cradle, and then you go to A and you do the same thing, and then you'll find that what it does is it stops like all that chatter in your brain, and you'll actually drift off to sleep. So it's a great little thing.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Because it's that chatter too that can drive you nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, and then your mind will start wandering. You go, oh, no, go back to T, 3 words that start with T.
Okay, I'm going to try that next time. That's good.
Yeah. But it is important, and there is a lot of help out there and respect for sleep now, which a lot of people are respecting that also.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, this was a new thing for us that we did because we wanted to start to add more research and things that we feel passionate about.
Exactly.
Right? So this was a fun thing to do. We'd love to hear what you think about it. And if you did like this episode, please share it with a friend. Any final words before?
Yeah. Have a good sleep tonight.
Have a good sleep tonight. Watch, we're going to have a horrible sleep.
Oh, I know. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. But thank you as always for being here. Thank you for listening to the show. Please make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And in case nobody's told you today, we think you're incredible.
Yes.
All right. Till next time.
Yes.
Bye.